It's a weird thing in sports. Generally, you have favorite athletes, or in UFC's case, favorite fighters. But I actually have a favorite UFC fan, and the man joins me right now. It is Steve O. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing great, brother. Good to see you.
It's weird. I was on a flight to Las Vegas like 2 months ago, and Wee Man was on the same flight as me. And I kind of wanted to go over and be like, "Hey, I know Steve," but then I'm like, I've never really met Steve. We just talk on Zoom every once in a while.
Oh, hey, come on, man. It wouldn't be a big deal. Wee Man's pretty rad. He's very friendly. I think all of us are very friendly in public.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I look at you guys, and obviously, like I've said this to you time and time again, like I feel like I grew up with you. It was just we weren't in proximity with one another. I was watching you on TV, so like I feel like there are moments of my life that you were around for, even though you weren't there. And then when I see you or I see someone like Wee Man, you guys have notoriety, but it's notoriety of just sort of being yourselves, but a hammed up version of yourselves. Like it's got to be kind of weird how people probably look at you in the airport, Steve, and think like, "Oh, it's Steve O. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna do something crazy?"
It's not like that. And I think that there's a certain type of public personality that you kind of think, oh, ooh, I better not mess with that guy. But with us, like I think that we are commonly sort of you know thought of as people as people.
Right.
Like we're very relatable. We're like you kind of feel like, oh, there's my buddy Steve-O. So like you know, people are less bashful with
Right.
us. I'll put
Yeah.
it that. And
Well,
and again, I think we're really good about it. But do not go up to Wee Man if he's in the middle of a meal. He
oh,
will
really?
he will draw that boundary. He taught me that.
I get that. I mean, if you're eating a meal like that, that's almost private time, really.
Yeah, it's tough, and I'm like, it's a toss up. It's a coin flip how I'll handle it if I'm in the middle of a meal. I'll
Right.
be like, "Ugh, I know, like I should draw the boundary. I should."
Yeah. Because you don't want to be that guy, right? Like 5 minutes of your life might be the only interaction you have with someone, and they think you're that way forever. But you are a human
Right.
being. Let's talk a little bit about what you got going on, because I said like I grew up with you. I feel like the last 10 years, Steve, you've grown up and matured way more than I have, and it was definitely the opposite when I was watching Jackass back in the day. But you got the special, and I mean
Yeah, dude. I love this new art so much. I've made it my screensaver on the computer.
it's pretty
Steve-O's bucket.
rad. I mean, like I get concerned though, Steve, when I hear bucket list. Like you're not going anywhere anytime soon. You're not sick, right? You're
No,
not.
no, there's nothing like morbid in the sense of like I got to do it before I die. I mean, it was more a feeling of I'm just kind of approaching an age where I might have to hang it up on doing like the really physical stunts. Like there's gonna be a point where maybe it just gets a little bit creepy to watch me do these things. And so if I'm ever going to do what was on my bucket list, kind of hurry up and get it done while it makes sense. That's really kind of the vibe of it.
Like, I mean, you kind of bring up a good point. Like, I don't ever want like a Steve-O special to like sort of turn into like, all right, is this a new episode of Faces of Death? Is this when he actually dies? Like, I don't want that. I need you around, Steve. You're a role model now.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And
So,
dude, this show is it's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. I'm so stoked on it.
I mean,
And it
tell me what the whole sort of narrative is here. I mean, obviously, it's the bucket list. You're doing
right.
things that you couldn't do. Let's dig in.
Right. There's a bunch of stunts that I could not do for various reasons. And effectively it's like forbidden stuff. And so like what is it? Like what is it? I kind of give an idea of what it is. And as we go through the journey through the list, it becomes apparent that I'm in a relationship with a woman. I'm engaged to be married. My fiance in the beginning is introduced because she's participating in the bucket list activities. And as the show progresses, The bucket list items are presented in descending order of her approval and support. So she's a little bit less front and center. And then it comes to the point she's there, but begrudgingly. And then she can't bring herself to show up at all.
Oh,
And
wow.
then not only is she not there, but she's got like problems with what's happening. And by the end, we're navigating like genuine, serious conflict. But we emerge victorious and triumphant. And it's all just this beautiful love story.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Yeah,
And after each bit, you see the footage. Like there's a video package to pay off each bit, so you see
that's
all of the
awesome.
forbidden stunts.
That's absolutely amazing. It kind of reminds me of mixed martial arts a little bit. So when I first started dating my wife, she didn't really like my best friend, and he was like a local fighter. And I brought her to one of his fights, and again, she didn't really like him, but he stepped into the cage, and she was shaking because it was the first time she'd ever seen anyone that she knew
Right?
actually like in physical conflict, and like it's got to be torture for people that care about you to see you willingly put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough. There's there's one where a medical professional puts a 4-inch needle in my spine and injects a drug to paralyze me while I'm in uh, full sprint. You know, like it's called an epidural.
Yeah.
They inject spinal anesthesia into your spinal cavity, and it just renders you paralyzed. And so I'm like tearing off running, and that one was that's the first one where she said she couldn't be there because she couldn't bring herself to be there to witness something that she would never be able to unsee.
I mean, I watched my wife get an epidural when she had her child, and like that was just hard to watch. Just the needle. I mean, if you're running, Steve, that it just sounds stupid.
Yeah, it's the most awesome thing ever. It's so stupid.
I mean,
Uh,
stupid in a good way, stupid in a Steve-O way, if you will.
yeah, yeah, especially because there's a scientific component. When once I go down, my buddies conduct like legit experiments to determine how paralyzed I really am.
Oh, that could be terrifying.
It's great.
Oh man.
It's a fantastic bit. The whole thing is it's the crown jewel of my entire career. Everything led up to this, and I'm terrified to try to beat it. I really am.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't think you're supposed to beat the bucket list. I think the bucket list just is, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've
Yeah.
been kicking around some ideas, but that's for another day. And right now, this wildly explicit, too hot for jackass, and legitimately triple X rated bucket list special is available at stevo.com.
That's amazing. I'm gonna go check it out for sure. I'm just thinking about it. Like, I think the hardest stunt for you to perform, Steve, is not doing another stunt. Just getting
And
out.
there's some validity to that thought. My lady and I just bought a big ranch in Tennessee, and this is our whole life plan to have animals. We want to have a whole animal sanctuary,
That's
and
amazing.
maybe grow our own food, go off the grid with the solar, like just chill out. And the farm life is something that I want to kind of phase into.
All right. Well, we'll see if you can do it. Let's talk a little mixed martial arts action.
And I love it, man. I
Yeah,
mean, dude, I don't want to undermine this next fight night on December 9th,
right.
but Jesus
Oh
is
yeah.
December 16th unholy. I mean, wow. Like, you hear all this talk about UFC 300, and it's got to be so crazy, but
Right.
like, what could be more like wall to wall than 296.
I mean, I'm looking at that UFC 300 date, and I see fights on this 296 card, Steve. They're like, oh, you could have saved that one for 300. You could have saved that one for 300. Like, this is one of the most stacked cards of the year, and I feel like it's almost getting sort of overlooked because like it's the end of the year. You already mentioned
No,
300. Like
God,
this is the fight card that I feel on paper could steal the entire year for like fight card
oh,
of the year.
dude, believe you me, this is not being overlooked by anyone. I mean,
Good.
I consume all of the MMA like YouTube content. I'm talking like Full Mount MMA is my favorite channel. MMA on Point, MMA Zone. Like all these channels put out videos every single day, and I'm glued to all of it. I follow every little story. Like when Chael, his channel, like, and like I'll let him know if I don't quite agree with with Chael's take on something. I'll tell you, like, I don't know how anybody could be more plugged in. And all of this swirling controversy around Ian Gary is
Oh
just,
man.
I mean, Ian Gary is like, started out, it looked like he was trying to be Conor McGregor, but quickly morphing into Colby Covington.
It's crazy how that has worked. That's a good comparison because man, like this guy, he's making people feel a certain way, and it's not the way that anybody I think intended that we're going to feel about the future in Ian Gary. But you already talked about Colby. Let's talk about Colby a little bit. He's going to take on Leon Edwards at 296. Man, I look at this matchup and I'm like, I don't want to go against Leon because I've picked against Leon in his last two fights, at least his last two fights.
Well,
And for good reason, I think personally. But
I think we can make it pretty easy, you know. And I'm not necessarily right when I say this, but I think if Leon wins, it's a more explosive, exciting fight.
oh yeah, I agree with that. The fans will be on their feet if we get a
Well, no,
Leon Edwards hand raise.
I'm not even saying because of fans.
I'm just saying from the entertainment value, they'll be
Right.
cheering it on.
Right. I'm just saying purely because of style. Because
Yeah,
I'm
I agree.
saying if Colby wins, then that's gonna what that means. I think Colby's path to victory is gonna be to take him down, to hold him up, to
Yep.
neutralize him with wrestling.
Grimy, drag him through the mud.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, like, it'll be a less entertaining fight for the fans if it goes in Colby's direction.
Yeah.
If it goes in Leon's direction, it's going to be more of a banger, is my prediction.
It's interesting because the way that Colby wins, it fits his character and his sort of persona of like pissing everyone off, right? Like, and it's going to be interesting to see if an Englishman in Leon Edwards is the fan favorite that gets all the cheers in Las Vegas, Nevada. Like, you would think the American would get the cheers, but I think you're going to get more Colby boos than woos.
I wouldn't be surprised, but then again, you never know. I've always said, and I stand by this, that I enjoy disliking Colby Covington so much that I find myself actually rooting for him because I want him to be around, like, because he makes it so enjoyable.
Yeah.
Dislike him and to root against him, and so he's the greatest heel in the history of combat sports, if you ask me. I don't mind a bit. But back to the Styles thing, and we know that that's why Colby adopted this super aggressive heel mentality because he was looking at getting cut from the UFC because his fights were boring. They're like, yo, with the wrestling, like, it's just boring. So he adopted this larger than life heel persona, and it's really worked for him. But let's face it, he's still a wrestler, and I don't care what happens in that fight. That's the best situation to be in when I'm thrilled no matter the outcome. If Leon wins, he's just such a good guy. Such a good guy. If Colby wins, it's like, oh, here we go. wow, now he's legitimately the champion.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy.
I don't know what that press conference is going to be like if he comes in there as the undisputed welterweight king. It's going to be nuts. Let's talk about a couple of lightweights that are going to meet. Tony Ferguson has been a staple of this 155-pound division. It's hard for me to think of a lightweight division without Tony Ferguson. I know he's on the backside of his career, but he takes on a guy in Paddy Pimblett who Patty the Batty, I mean, he's definitely drawn the ire of a lot of fans. He's also, gained a lot of fans. And this is a fight, Steve, that I have talked to so many people and they're split 50-50. They're like, I can't believe they're giving Paddy Pimblett to Tony Ferguson. El Cucuy is going to destroy him. And then the other way around, I hear people going, well, this is Paddy the Batty's, rocket. He's going to get, pushed up to the moon after he destroys Tony Ferguson in epic fashion. People that pick the winner of this fight, they do so with conviction that you don't normally get in other fight picks.
I wouldn't go quite that far. And the odds makers have Patty. The last I saw, he was like minus 300, maybe down to minus 2 something. But Patty's a distinct favorite. And you make a really interesting point too about how Patty drew the ire of the fans. I mean, certainly that whole Ariel Helwani back and forth was not helpful. The Jared Gordon decision,
Right.
that and the way he handled that wasn't particularly helpful. I attribute it to inherent growing pains. Whenever somebody is bestowed a bunch of fame and notoriety and power and prestige, I think that comes with growing pains. It's very hard to navigate that without sort of abusing your privilege a little bit. And
Yeah.
I think that what we saw at a very public level was Patty going through these growing pains, and it makes perfect sense to me because I was present in the San Diego arena when Patty Pimblett walked out during a fight, and he wasn't being disrespectful. He just entered the arena.
Right.
Not during a fight. Sorry, it was when Bruce Buffer was about to announce the results.
Okay.
But the fighters were in the octagon. The ceremony was in progress. Patty walks into the arena. Patty's not on the jumbotron.
Right.
Not even. There's activity in the octagon. By the virtue of standing at the corner of the arena, the entire arena started chanting, "Oh, Patty the Batty." Like, it was the most unbelievable thing. I was like, wow, this kid is a star. Wow. And I think that the way an arena responds, is very telling too. I think Patty's still gonna get that. Oh, Patty! I think he's gonna get that treatment when he enters against Tony Ferguson. I think he is just electric and exciting. And when I first saw that they booked Tony and Patty, I thought, ooh, like at first my instinct, I didn't like it, but that instinct was wrong because it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
awesome.
and you're right. I mean, I didn't want to allude to the fact that this was an even fight by saying, the conviction that I've heard from people.
No, it's a lot of people think it is. Like you said, it's split down the middle. Some people think it.
Well, I think it's their desire. If they want one to win, they don't want them to win by a close decision. They want Tony Ferguson to rip his arm off, or they want Paddy Pimblett to, choke him out unconscious. It's a fight that draws the emotion out of the fans, and it's going to be a pretty damn good one. You got a prediction for it?
Ah, man. Ooh. I gotta say that I really like Patty. I really do. I've been able to spend some time with him, just hanging out. We've been on each other's podcast. We've watched fights together. I just really like him, and as much of a legend as Tony Ferguson is, man, he's tough in a press conference. It's so from a fan perspective, I'm rooting for Patty. Just gotta say it. I'm rooting for Patty, and
Fair enough.
and I also think he's gonna win too. So my money and my heart is on Patty.
There you go. I'm going to let you get out of here, but I am going to leave you with this. You should add this to the bucket list, to be honest with you, by the way, the special,
Okay.
again, available at the website. But the UFC is putting on the Fight Pass Invitational on Sunday. It's the day after the UFC Fight Night in Las Vegas. It's the 5th installment of their grappling event. I'll be on the call with George St. Pierre at the Apex. You should come out. You should come out.
You know what? I'll be in Tennessee. I'm out
son
at the
of a gun.
ranch.
Well, watch it on UFC Fight Pass and let me know how my commentary is with GSP.
Dude, I would love to do that, man. I would love, dude. I've called some fights for Cage Warriors.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I enjoy doing that so much.
I would love to call some fights. We got to get you like to do a show with me in the arena. Like I don't know what we got to do to make that happen, but we got to hang out, Steve.
Dude, I would love that. Let me leave you with an interesting story.
All right.
I was in Madison Square Gardens, sitting next to Corey Sandhagen.
Okay.
I told him about, I think I might have been telling him about like the ranch in Tennessee, something or other. And he was like, oh, I just fought in Tennessee. And I was like, yeah, I was there. I was in the arena, and he said, oh, sorry about that, because he had his fight with Rob Font.
Yep.
And, it wasn't the most exciting fight.
Right.
And he's such a likable guy. Corey Sandhagen, such a likable guy. And I said, Corey, there's no other sport in the world where people will get mad at you. Like, oh man, he was just trying to win.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. How dare you go out there and just try to win?
Yeah. How dare you go out there and just try to win? And as I said that to Corey Sandhagen, I think he appreciated it. I think we both, really just acknowledged, and that's something that's just so special about UFC,
Yeah.
like it's entertainment, it's sport, and you never know what's going to happen. And I want to give love to Corey Sandhagen because he got hurt. I think he got hurt in that fight, and like that was like his only way to deal with it. And he didn't get hurt like TJ Dillashaw before and keep it a secret.
Yeah. It's the weirdest, most special sport in the world, and I love the seat that I have on fight night. And more often than not, I look down and Steve-O has a better seat. So, man, I appreciate your time, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah, TJ, I appreciate your time too. Did we ever link up on text message?
Yeah, I got your number. I can shoot you a text.
Cool, man. Cool, dude. Shoot me a text. Have a blast at the Invitational, and man, I love UFC, and we should figure out a way to create content together because I can't get enough of it.
It'd be amazing. All right, Steve, we'll let you get out to the ranch in Tennessee and enjoy some downtime. And again, the bucket list available at the website. Is it steveo.com?
It is steveo.com.
Perfect. All right.
Steveo.com. Support the bucket list. I guarantee you will not be disappointed.